In studio today, of course, as we do every single day, this is where important conversations go down. And there's something we want to tell you about. And we spoke about this yesterday. There are things that happen in this country. Mtu anakuwa mgonjwa, alafu watu wanasema ni labda amerogwa.
Matimoni.
Mtu lazima apelekwe exorcism. Alafu kuna wale wengine watasema ukimwambia niko na hii disease, alafu atakwambia hizo si ndizo kwanga disease za wazungu. Kwa sababu kuna disease za Afrika. Disease za Afrika ni gani? There's nothing like that. So of course we decided to get two ladies in studio with us to talk about rare diseases. Rare diseases. There's a lot of diseases out there that affect you and me. And I'm going to let Christine introduce themselves. Good morning.
Thank you for having us. My name is Christine Mutena.
Yes.
I am a mother to two girls with different rare conditions, non-related. Rosalind.
I'm Rosalind Kanja.
Yeah.
And I represent Joubert syndrome, a son 3 years old with Joubert syndrome.
Okay. So you know, for our listeners, including even when you were telling us, we didn't know the diseases. So let's talk about Christine. You have two kids who both have two rare diseases.
Yeah.
Tell us about the first time you heard about the first disease.
My firstborn turns 13 in January. So, yes, I'm 20 years old. My firstborn turns 13 in January. And they diagnosed a symptom at birth. They said it was isolated, so they didn't equate it to the whole condition on its own. So we've been living with a symptom for the last 10 years. But I've been doing research and saying, no, she has this, she has that. And I was telling you earlier, we tend to join support groups abroad on Facebook. Thank God for Facebook. We tend to join support groups abroad. So they tell you there's this probability of this and that. So you get to learn more. So I got to learn more about the different conditions, and I realized we're managing my daughter, the firstborn, more so for a symptom and not the whole condition. She learned that she has actually a different condition.
What's the name of the condition?
Megalencephaly capillary malformation, short MCM.
So what does it do?
It has different... It shows it in different places. Like you have macrocephaly, that's a big head. So sometimes it comes with hydrocephalus. It has hemihyperplasia, which means some or all or half of your body is bigger than the other. It comes with markings on the skin. So it comes with different... It has higher probabilities of tumors as a child, more than their peers. So it comes with different, depends on how much your child has been affected. Then you manage accordingly.
Before we get to the second child, I wanted to ask, at this point when how old is the second child?
She's 8.
8, and she has her own different rare condition.
Yes.
How was that?
It was hard.
Because you were already dealing with the first one.
Yeah.
And what are the challenges of dealing with the first one?
Intellectual disability, delayed milestones, basically having a shattered dream as a parent. Because you always have this, when you get a child, you have like this dream that they're going to do A, B, C, D. There's this poem that it's called Welcome to Holland, whereby it's like, it just shows you the different background of, fine, you've been having this dream, but then like you're on a flight to Italy, so you've done your research and all that, then you end up in Holland, or you've got no idea, different language. So it's kind of like you're thrown into the deep end. So that's how it is. Actually, I think even for most parents, even with kids with special needs, not only rare conditions.
Second child, what's the disease?
Condition. Disease, I think, is progressive, right?
Condition.
Okay. Rosalind is my expert. That's why I'm looking at her. She's a researcher in this group. She has ring 18 chromosome, which is like, how do I break it down? You've heard of Down syndrome, right?
Yes.
Down syndrome is trisomy 21. It affects the 21st chromosome. Ring 18 affects chromosome 18.
Christine, you know, there's people who are listening to you right now
Try
saying,
and
"Are you a
simplify
doctor?"
that.
Oh, simplify.
Yes.
No. I'm not a doctor, actually. I'm nowhere near a medic.
And that's my next question. How you had to learn all these things?
Yes.
You had to learn all these things.
Yes.
Before your children, had you ever heard of these conditions?
I think I was even a snob.
You are a snob.
To be honest, I think even when it came to disability, I was like any other person who've never seen disability.
Yeah.
So I used to like carefree, not even thinking twice about the next person. Yeah.
All right. When you hear all this, you're also in your same in a similar situation. Tell us about your son.
So my son is 3 years. So he has what is called Joubert syndrome. It's French. Okay, it's written Joubert, Joubert. And we found out when I was pregnant. I was told that it was actually by fluke when this sonographer just said his brain, he's missing something, and then his kidney has cysts in it. So we were told, well, let's see what
This
happens.
was the fetus.
Yes, at 8 months.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to go and have those scans.
Yeah.
So now, when he's born, he's okay. He's fine and all that. He scored well in the UPGAR score and all that.
Yeah.
But then, now you notice that he's delayed. He's not. He's a bit floppy. He's quite floppy, actually. That's one of the things. And then
Floppy in terms of?
like your muscle tone is floppy. So that means that you can't meet your milestones. You can't even. He took 1 year to hold his head up. You know, children normally take 2 months. So by 1 year, that's when he's holding up his head. So among that, there was so much other medical conditions that you have to deal with. He was not gaining weight. He had severe jaundice. Then you have immunity issues. Then you have to deal with the fact that if he gets a cold, even like today, if you get a cold, it takes him 2 months. So if it gets complicated, easily goes to pneumonia. So there's constant medical intervention. So, but he's doing really well at the moment. Yes.
And are you a doctor?
No, I'm not.
So you both sound very like doctors. So we're going to be talking about rare diseases because there's a lot of rare diseases, and the stats that I have here: 50% of people affected by rare diseases are children. When we come back, more on this conversation.
Vybez Radio, we rule the nation in this generation.
9 minutes to 9 a.m. I'm telling you, man, Thursday imeshika. This song just reminds me of how my mom used to get me ready for school. For real.
Why?
She'd sing this song for me.
Si Shine anakupaka mafuta tu yote.
Vaseline. Nikiingia tu shule watu wanasema nataka hapo kwa undercover lakini the principal can see me from the back. You who's shining there in the back. But it used to give me that confidence. When I'm leaving the house, I'm just like, when we dance with my mom in the morning, it make everything exciting. And shout out to the parents who are just like, "Guy, wako nyumbani mpaka January."
Siji tumpeleke tu ushago akae huko na shosho wake kwa sababu shosho amemisa jamuona kutoka last year December akae tu huko abond.
That's what used to be told, really.
Yeah.
Even me. Even me. The Kisii I know is because I used to be shipped off to Kisii. You arrive there, the first thing these kids are like, "Oh no, huyu ametoka Nairobi." The amount of bullying. By the time you get back to Nairobi.
Lakini kwa box najua hiyo time tulikuwa tunaenda na drip. Imagine umeenda na jeans za
Sabco.
dada. O5. Dami ni dada.
Wewe luka unavaa Sabco, acha kutuchit.
Box mimi kwa O5 jacket, jeans na Timberland.
Ulikuwa unachapwa?
Okay, saa zingine.
Yeah, unaweza tu tustantie hivyo. All right, listen, we're talking about rare diseases. And this is definitely a conversation that needs to be had. And we've got two ladies in studio who are talking to us about their experience with rare diseases. Interestingly, Christine, we're talking about what causes rare diseases. What should people know? Because when you found out, now you guys are so knowledgeable. You're even talking the science part of it, But when you found out, you realize that there's a lot of things that people can learn before they start this journey.
Yeah.
What should people know?
Okay. Well, let's start off with the statistics. Those ones are thrown around and why they're important. Okay, so currently there are about 6,000 to 8,000 rare diseases in the whole world.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a
lot.
big number. Yeah. And yes, we might be rare. Like currently, Joubert syndrome currently in the country, I only know of only other one parent.
Wow.
Yes, outside there, as of last year, there were only about 600 cases, the whole world known.
Wow.
But with, diagnosis and awareness,
600 people
600
in the whole 7 billion.
Yes. That is what is known.
Yeah.
Because when you look at down the statistics, it's 1 in 100,000.
Yeah.
It affects 1 in 100,000. So they
Yeah.
are there.
Yeah.
Even in Kenya, I'm sure they are there.
Yeah.
CP, people who are told they have cerebral palsy,
Yeah.
some of them have probably Joubert syndrome.
Yeah.
Now, why is it important to know that?
Yeah.
First of all, the fact that we know there must be others. That means that there's someone at home that they have as a child at home who might develop complications like kidney, because it affects your immune.
Yeah.
Or there's so much that by knowing why it happens and how to manage it, you can prolong the life of this child.
Oh, for sure.
And you can intervene early. So the statistics are important also to us as a government to have, we need a database. Like, for example, one of the conditions is called multiple sclerosis.
Yeah.
And they found out that it happens there are more people coming from the central Kenya. Then you need to know why.
Yeah.
Is it something that we need to research about? And there's things like that. So we need to maybe spend money and research.
Yeah.
But you find that there are so many others. So when you put all these people living with rare diseases, there are about 300 million the whole wild world. So you see, that is this will be the third largest country if you put all of them
together.
So statistics are important in that sense. So you need to know, and you need to know that most of them are genetic in nature. So we're looking at 80%, though they've just revised those statistics. So knowing that, so when you see like a certain illness like Joubert, you don't start saying that, unajua ni kurogo, like what you're saying, madevo, manini. So there's a science to it. That means that you can get treatment for it and not resolve to just sitting at home and giving up.
There's something you mentioned. 600 people documented in the entire world have that condition. Yeah. And I'm so sure that there are so many other Kenyans who have it, because when we had this conversation, I think last week, and we're asking people, where are all the people? Because there's 4.5 million people documented that could be living with disabilities. This is after the census. Yeah. And if you go to, like, say, rural areas, because they say hizi ni vitu za wazungu ama ni kurogwa. So you'll find that if you I've been to rural parts. I was even telling him of a kid I saw, a street kid who's being used to collect funds in the street. And I saw that kid and immediately I knew that's autism. You can imagine a child who has autism sitting in the street, a busy road. The noise. So she was like beating herself. She was like, and the person who's handling her doesn't care.
Thinks it's normal.
Doesn't care at all. She's on a wheelchair. So you can see, not only does she have autism, but she has other, because her legs were sort of crippled, and so clearly she has something else going on, and that can be managed. She could be in school, but most people that family probably even gave her to this middleman and told her she'd rather go and make money for us in Nairobi from Tanzania. So there are those people, there are those families. What would you advise? There's a family right now that's sitting with a child. They've gone to hospital. The doctors have told them they don't know what it is. So they go back home and they say, "Ata wa daktari wako anajua ni nini." Amerogwa. What would you tell that parent? That mom who's defeated, paka amemfungia mtoto kwa room.
Let me give you an example, a personal example. For my second born, I'm the one who went and requested for the test to be done. It's called chirotyping, whereby they check the chromosomes. That's how it gets diagnosed. I researched about it, even as I was telling you earlier about my firstborn. I'm the one who went and gave the doctors, I think this is what she has. This is what you're dealing with. This is what you're going to do. We can't give up on our children. I don't know about how we can help those guys in the rural areas in terms of internet and stuff, but that has been our savior, because we've gotten to research, we've gotten to meet people outside. I'm lucky enough to have gone for a conference for chromosome 18. So I've met other kids who have ring 18, and I'm like, you know what, my daughter will thrive, because I've seen adults living with it. So it's about research. If the experts say, actually we as parents are the experts, because we get to deal with the kids on a daily basis. So if the doctors say they don't know, you are the expert. Live and decide, I'm going to find out what is wrong with my child and how I'm going to help my child. Because if you give up, then no one else is going to assist you.
And I want to add something else. So don't stop seeking for medical attention.
Yeah.
That's the one thing, because most people will resolve to the, that this is Ikurogwa or whatever.
Yeah.
Because there's so much that you can, if you intervene early for this child, they have a longer life, or that they can live their life as fully as they can, given whatever condition that they have.
Yeah.
That's one. Two, reach out and advocate for your child.
Yeah.
Because you see, like us being here, I am advocating for my child and for the next child that is coming and the next mother. You make it easier for others. It's so easy. And then if reaching out, it's also like what is it called? It's like therapy also. Because you see, now I can talk to her. There's some things I'll say to her that will make sense.
Yeah.
And that someone else might not get it.
Yeah.
So don't give up. Don't seclude. You're not alone. So reach out and find your tribe.
Yeah.
This kind of tribe. Yeah.
But one challenge that is there that could fix all these problems is if the general public stops letting things to do with disabilities or diseases that we don't understand to be in the fringe.
Yes.
Because we live in a country where if you're disabled, your options are begging.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is someone who can live a full life, and maybe their family just didn't intervene. They didn't fight hard enough for them. But when you're looking in a rural area, say there's a mother who's just given birth, she started to realize all these things. She goes to the hospital. So you're saying, tell the doctor to do tests. Public hospitals. What are the options? This has to be private.
Unfortunately it does.
Unfortunately, that's the thing. Like, we keep saying that we don't have enough specialists. Like, currently, I am yet to be told if there is a genetic counselor. That's the one person who tells you this disease happens because of this. Your chances of getting another child is like this. You need to know and test your next if you want to. These are your options. If you don't want, there are these options. That like, explain to you behind the genetics, behind the condition.
Yeah.
We don't have that as a country right now. So yes, we don't have specialists. And even those ones who are there, currently, most of the doctors I meet, I have to tell them, this is Jobert. This is what it means. This is it. So if I'm
walk
seeing
around with a pamphlet.
I actually have a file. So when I'm seeing, let's say, a new doctor who's a chest doctor, so I have to explain how Jobert might affect him. And then from there now, we look at what are the treatment options.
Oh my God.
So you see, even if the specialists are there, they don't know about the rare diseases. Because you see, there's something about in the medical field that they say, the rare patients are called zebras. It's a slang. It means that actually in the medical field, they say that when you hear hoofbeats, look out for a horse.
Wow.
Not a zebra. So we are the zebras. But the thing is, most rare diseases present themselves like normal illness. Kuna kama mafua ambaye haiendi, kichwa ambaye haiendi. So after a while, then they need to start referring you to someone who's a specialist who might know.
All right.
Like
Vybez Radio, we rule the nation in this generation.
Chris Martin, Paper Lovin', bringing us to 14 minutes to 9 a.m. Shout out to all our MVPs. We see your tweets. Tunazipenda.
Tunaziget.
Tutazisoma. In studio, we're talking about rare diseases. And of course, you can join the global conversation at Global Genes. That's global, and then genes ya kuvaa. Genes, GENES. And of course, hashtag care about rare. That's where, of course, the conversation is going down. But everyone needs to be part of this conversation. Everyone needs to be part of conversation because rare diseases in Kenya are there. You've just heard from the two ladies who are in studio with us and their own personal experiences. Hashtag rare disease KE if you'd like to learn more about this. And I know it's rare, but you can imagine there's a boy in this country who's living with a disease that only 600 people in the world. So these things are possible. Can we name some of the diseases and conditions that are represented in Kenya? I've seen albinism.
Let me clarify something. There are some diseases that are more rare in some parts of the country, rather of the world, than in others. So you'll find like sickle cell is a rare disease. Yeah. But see in Kenya it's not.
It's not, yeah.
Yeah. Something like, what else, Roslyn? My mind is blank.
Oh, sorry. There are many, like Alagille syndrome,
yes,
which affects your liver. It doesn't develop well. There's Marfan syndrome. There's muscular dystrophy. That seems to be one of the they have the
Common.
numbers
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Common in quotes.
Yeah.
They are one of the things. There is PID, which is primary immunodeficiency disorder. Your body does not have the immunity.
Yeah.
So, like you can fight a cold, you
Yeah.
can't easily just fight just small illnesses.
Yeah.
There's myasthenia gravis. There is narcolepsy, where they cannot regulate sleep. There's an interesting one, which is called FOP.
What is FOP?
FOP is fibrodysplasia ossificans progressiva. What it means, you grow another skeleton.
What?
Yes. So your muscle turns into bone. So we actually currently have a case. I think the boy is 8 years. So what that means is that the child cannot just play normally, because anything, even a cold, or you just hit him a bit, it can start a reaction that the muscle turns into bone. Now, what this means is that your neck can fuse, because it will. So most joints tend to fuse, so you become immobile.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. So you see, there are diseases that are like metabolic. Your metabolic system.
Is there any
doesn't work.
research being done in this country? I saw an article in the newspaper 2 days ago that there's been they've registered a high number of births in Mombasa with microcephaly. So now they're saying they were calling out for research to be done to see what could be causing, because when there's a spike, it means there's something.
Yes.
Just the same way in Brazil there was
Zika virus.
Zika virus.
Yes.
So is there any research being done in this country?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not that we're aware of. And that's the thing that we're pushing the government to have a database. If we have a database, we can say, oh yeah, there's Joubert syndrome, we have this number of people. And collectively, how can we support? Because we're citizens of this country, and we should, have access to healthcare.
Yes.
Good healthcare.
Good healthcare.
And not even that, like for example, for me, I had to take time off and work from home.
Yeah.
I had that flexibility. But for the next many people,
Yeah.
one spouse has to stay home with his child.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that means, the economics of the family are affected.
Yeah.
So things like taxes, these people shouldn't pay taxes because, you are affected. So the government should be able to provide,
some reprieve.
yes, or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Or even some conditions have some, like the medicines are so expensive. And we know one condition that spends 500,000 per month to keep this child alive or this person alive.
Yes.
Wow.
Things like that.
Now
That's the
imagine.
reality.
So I like what you said. Reprieve, even taxes.
Yes.
Because a normal family is just taking the kid to school. They can access primary school education, but there's a lot of now that parent who's spending $500,000.
Yes.
Wow.
And that $500,000 is because they are getting it donated by worldwide, organizations.
Yeah.
On their own, they can't.
They can't.
They can't.
So we know that there's probably a lot of families around the country who are probably in an even worse state, because where they are, they can't even access normal healthcare.
Yes.
Medical services are shambolic in this
Yes,
country.
yes.
And they're probably sitting listening to you right now and just don't know. All they know is that they want to reach out to you guys
Okay.
to start the conversation. Because there's something you mentioned. You said that when you found out, there was absolutely no help. You were doing your research, but then you found family in support groups abroad.
Yes.
You could be the support group for these people
Yes.
who are in the different parts of the country,
True that.
who are listening. And we speak to a lot of MVPs across the country who are listening to us. And the phone has been ringing. I just didn't want to pick some calls. What would you tell them?
You're not alone. And as you said earlier, we want to be the support group in local in terms of help the parents behind us have an easier life than we did.
Yeah.
We cannot offer financial support because even us on our own are struggling.
Yeah.
But we can offer you emotional support,
Yeah.
which is sometimes, I think, more than financial support.
And
in
even
terms
emotion, and even information.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Psychosocial support.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the right time to give out our contact.
Yes, absolutely.
You can get us on 0701 025 753.
Let's say that again.
0701 025 753. Our email address is info@rarediseasekenya.org. Website is www.rarediseasekenya.org. We are on Twitter and Facebook at Rare Disease KE.
And you're celebrating, you're marking World Rare Disease Day.
Yes.
Here in Kenya.
Yes.
And you want all the parents, all the people living with rare diseases to show up and be counted.
Yes.
Because you cannot be able to, the government will not be able to hear you if you're just seated there by yourself.
Yes.
So what's going to happen in this day?
Okay, so we are we're still in the planning mode,
Yeah.
so we have 92 days too. But for one that so far, like the last year we had it at Gertrude's, and we are looking to that will be obvious. So what will happen, we'll have speakers coming in, basically just to meet another person. Sometimes, I remember last year we had a parent who came and she didn't know that there was someone else with the same condition, and you could see her face, she's crying and everything, and that's what it's about. And now she has a community that she can reach out, and sometimes even benchmark, okay, what happens, what doctor do I need to see, what's next, and all that. So that's what we want to have, that conversation. And after that, you form links to people that you can reach out and talk to and visit each other and talk to, and make your life easier and know what you can do.
Right.
So basically it will be a day to just spend time together, probably have a speaker or two. We're still in the planning, like I said. But get to our website and Facebook, then you get more information.
All right. Thank you, ladies, so much for coming into the studio. I just want to remind you, for those who are listening, of course, rare diseases are in the world, and of course, in Kenya, there are people living with rare diseases. The stats around the world: 350 million people live with rare diseases. 50% of those affected are children. And there are over 7,000 rare diseases that have been identified. Only 5% of those rare diseases have drugs. FDA approved drugs. Not at drugs to remember kwa mganga. Drugs as in za ukweli. Thank you so much for coming to shed a light on this, and we will continue having more conversations.
Okay.